Hey, welcome back to the channel. So I got another little upgrade thing I'm gonna be doing here on the truck. It has to do with the power steering cooler. So remember, this truck has hydroboost and the hydro assist ram with the sagging up pump. So when I put the truck together, this part of the truck I didn't rush it, but I put it together to make it work, to have a cooler, to get it up and running. So obviously the truck's been used quite a bit. I don't have a sensor or nothing on my power steering fluid as far as what the temps are actually reading. The main goal of this project is to get the power steering cooler out from in front of the radiator. That's really the priority of it. But since I'm doing it, I'm going to make it serviceable. I'm going to use -6 AN Russell fittings, and I'm going to add a 17-inch log style fin cooler that it's pretty common on most builds I've seen that have hydro or full hydro steering. So it should be a ton cooler, and it won't be drawing in the radiator temp right to the power steering cooler from the get-go. Plus the cooler itself's like 5 by 6 inches, so it's roughly 30 square inches of area that's semi blocking my radiator. So it's gonna help a few things, and let's see what we got going on. All right, so first thing is, this is the Explorer Grille. It's a little bit different than the Bronco 2 style. They kind of enclosed the 3 outer rectangles, which I guess I understand. High speed, I guess it's kind of like an air dam. But since this is not a high-speed rig, I thought that swapping to a Bronco 2 grill would give me a ton more airflow. Since most of my stuff is low speed, I thought it would definitely help to have as much air as possible. Plus, I kind of think it looks a little bit cooler too. And I had John Park's son JJ do me up a decal instead of running an actual emblem. So now let's get to it. So you can kind of see the power steering cooler. It's your common store-bought style cooler. I mean, it's a nice one. It's not cheap, but it's sitting, right in front of the radiator. So, the truck's running obviously at least 180 degrees all the time. So the power steering cooler is already picking up 180 degrees. And if the truck's not really moving, then it's not really cooling, right? There's the sagging up pump right here. My hydroboost setup. So everything's done right now with kind of like semi-permanent clamps. And then there is a brass T. A little bit better view here. So there's a brass T in line, and the reason for that is this particular sagging up pump only has one reservoir low pressure input. So if you only have a single, you just run a T. Down the road, I'll probably upgrade to a high pressure, more volume pump, which will have 2 reservoir connections on it. But this works fine. There's no issues. I don't have any problem with nothing. So it comes, so the low pressure comes out of the steering gear, goes forward into the cooler, out from the cooler, into the T, and then per the instructions, they basically want the straight through of the T to go back to the pump. And then the T portion is the reservoir low pressure that goes back up to the hydroboost setup. So simple, nothing to it. But like I said, it's basically permanently clamped in place. So if I had an issue, it wouldn't really be a quick drill fix. I mean, I could replace these with, you know, regular style clamps, but so let's show you what we're going to change it to. All right, so I'm replacing the cooler in front of the radiator with this 17-inch log style fin cooler, and it's a 3-inch diameter. It's got 1/2-inch MPT fittings, which I adapted to 90-degree -6 AN Twist Lok Russell fittings. This is going to replace the brass T section I was just showing you. It's a -6 AN T, male with the female ends for the hose sides. This way everything will be able to be serviceable, unboltable, removable, whatever, and it'll just look a little bit more factory, I guess, too. But the goal is, like I said, get the original cooler out from the radiator, put a even better cooler in the truck, and I'll show you where that's going to be. Alright, so the first gen Ford Explorers have this somewhat of a cross member, I guess you'd call it, right below the radiator and everything else. The Bronco 2s don't have this. Not sure about the Rangers. So I'm going to utilize this as my mount, so that way the cooler is protected from the bottom, and then it's hard to tell, but it's going to see airflow also, plenty of airflow. So this thing's going to be super effective. So I'm just going to get ready to drill 2 holes per side, 1/4 I got some stainless bolts and hardware that'll get bolted on right there. I got 90s coming up out, and then the hoses will just be routed right up to where I just showed you, the T and all that stuff. So let's get started. All right, 4 holes drilled. So I'm going to obviously have them all, you know, just like this one here, head going up. I just had the other ones down for locating. But it'll be bolted in nice, stainless steel hardware. I'll probably put a little piece of rubber foam between here and there just to kind of form it, give it a little better seat. But it ain't gonna go nowhere, and it ain't gonna be all torqued down too crazy either. So, all right, let's move on. All right, went ahead and removed the grill and removed the small radiator style cooler, and disconnected the hoses. Now I'm just going to kind of redo what I did here. So that's the piece I cut off. I'm going to go ahead and start using the Russell -6 AN fittings. Me, John, and Brad went in and split this tool. I want to say it was $100 and something bucks, but it literally will slide a fitting on the hose, OEM factory style fit, in less than 3 seconds. It's awesome. All right, I'm going to take a video here just to kind of show how easy this is. So, like I said, we got this Russell brand tool, and this tool does all the fittings, straight 90s, 45s. You just flip this around, so the large side of the hole is when you do a 90 or something, and then when it's a regular straight, you know, picture that being straight, it's got a smaller side. So the larger side is open for the 90 hex to fit in there. You thread in just about, you measure the length of the barb with the hose, and I usually go like a 1/16 of an inch more, because the hose is going to flex anyway. Tighten it down. You don't have to go crazy, it's enough to hold it steady. I always put just a little bit of Windex on the fitting just to kind of help it. So with a 90, it wants to kind of rock, so I'll snug it up. And then once it starts, it just sucks it in so easy. And then bottoms out, and then let it go. And unscrew the hose. Now this hose I'm using is not the actual Russell Twist Lok hose, but this is all low pressure stuff, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to run these crimp clamps on as well. That way it ain't going to go anywhere, trust me. But yes, I know this is not the actual Twist Lok brand hose from Russell, but low pressure, it's completely fine. Alright, so got the low pressure coming out of the steering gear. That goes in to the new cooler. I wish I had one more 90, but the 45 works just almost as good on this side. Goes through the cooler, and again, this thing adds like 18 more ounces out through a 90. And everything I got wrapped in that split plastic protective wire loom. I have not tied anything up yet, so it comes out of the cooler, back up through the 90, through the straight part of the T, back to the reservoir of the power steering pump, the Saginaw, and then the T up goes back to my hydroboost reservoir. So everything is pressed on with the -6 AN fittings and crimped. And I'm going to go ahead and tighten down all these fittings and start zip tying everything in place secure. Alright, everything's done. Everything's routed, tightened down, and situated. Truck's been running. No leaks so far. Everything's nice and tight. So I'm going to take it for a test spin. Everything's all the fluid's been topped off, and it took so much more fluid. It's awesome. All right, well that wraps up this little upgrade. Thanks for watching.